Hello, I am Stephanie Joy, the attorney at All Things Social Security and Joy Disability Law. Your video is about to start. I just wanted to remind you that if you click the join button below, you can learn more about the memberships offered at a very affordable price that can give you a little more direct attorney answers to your questions. Have a great day and enjoy the video. Hey guys, shout out to Vicky who provided what is a question that a lot of people question, but it's because they don't know the basic tenets of being disabled under the Social Security program, whether that's SSI or Social Security Disability. So I just want to get into this here. I know we've had this a long time ago, so let's just go over it one more time. So the concern was, not understanding how someone is being able to work after being approved for disability by the Social Security Administration, and how, the idea is that it makes no sense because you are applying for SSD or SSI because you can't work any job. And then, quote, yet after you're approved, you can earn up to $1,500 a month. Okay. Definite common misconception. So let's just go over it. When we are filing for disability, and remember, like any other insurance policy, there are terms that you have to trigger all the elements of coverage to be able to make that claim. For Social Security disability, the claim is not, you don't have to prove that you're bedridden. You don't have to prove that you're in a wheelchair. You don't have to prove that you're in a coma. So you don't have to be a completely non-functional person that can do nothing productive. What you have to essentially be able to prove is that you are unable to work substantially and gainfully. Okay. So if you can work full-time, you are by and large going to be considered not disabled, because full-time work, even at minimum wage, presumably would be substantial and gainful, or at least the going rate of that job. And the job, let's say you can do a job, but only one exists out there because it's a special job that your Uncle Harry created just for you because you are really, really, medically troubled. If you are not working that job, and that's the only job you arguably could work, you are still disabled and can get your benefits because that job does not exist in substantial numbers in the economy. Now, there is a little exception. If you did have that job and could still do that job now, but just aren't, if that job is considered part of your past relevant work, which of course is a whole new definition now because the time change between 15 years of your past versus limited to only 5, which just came about this month, June of 2024. That would be a whole, a whole different story. If you had done the work for Uncle Harry and there's no other job like it that's simple, like maybe just have to press a button once a day and get paid a full-time rate, then it would come in as being part of your past relevant work that you could do, even if, that job isn't, around or it's accommodated. If you, and by the way, it's not $1,500 a month, like in the question, it's $1,550 for 2024. And just a reminder that that is gross before taxes. So don't think you net out your taxes and then say I'm under SGA or any other benefits that might be deducted. So again, it's not, you don't have to prove that you are unable to do anything, that you're a completely unproductive person. You have to prove that you cannot work a full-time job at any occupation that exists in substantial numbers out there. Full-time. If you can do it, and if you can do it part-time but not full-time, whether you are or not, that would not be undisabled. That's part-time, not full-time. Now, however, we have the monetary black and white rule as well, which is the SGA number, and that's the 1,550. So even if you're part-time, because you cannot work full-time, you cannot withstand 8 hours a day. Maybe you could do a solid 3 and then you are incapacitated. But if you're earning $1,550 a month, that solid 3 is going to put you at SGA. That is substantial gainful income, even if it's part-time. But if you're under the 1,550, it wouldn't be. And if your medical evidence is still showing that you have these severe impairments that render you unable to work full-time, then you would be still disabled. And yes, you can make a little money being disabled and collecting your benefits. Now, SSD, of course, that is across the board. SSI is different in the sense that you're going to have offsets because SSI is needs-based welfare. So if you're going to go earn 500, or let's say $565 that month, the first 65 won't count. Of the remaining 500, half of it will be counted as what you shouldn't get for SSI. So you instead of getting 943, you'd get 250 less, but you get to keep your $565 from working. So it's always better to work from a financial standpoint than to, I would say, than to not work if you can. With, of course, the considerations also you have to consider, well, will I be losing these other welfare benefits I get if I work? I mean, some people think that way, I get the free phone, so maybe I shouldn't work. Other people don't think that way. They're like, well, if I can work and then pay for my own phone, awesome. I don't need that free phone from somebody else. So everyone's got their different positions on that. So I leave that up to each individual, but these are the rules, right? And Social Security is not trying to make people useless and be bedridden or pretend to be. You just have to be unable to work a full-time job, which is what we generally consider necessary to be self-sufficient. So when we are not being self-sufficient because we cannot earn that much because of our disabilities, then that's where our insurance that we bought and paid for in the Social Security system kicks in. That's the one that you worked for, right? SSI, different story, but still only applies to people who cannot do more. I know people sometimes bring up fraud and things like that. Does it happen? Of course it does. Do they try to catch them? Of course they do. And we actually report on them on Fridays. I didn't do it this past Friday because I was running around all over the state. But normally it's the Friday fraud law review. And we just run down a couple, well, usually one recently put out report from the Office of Inspector General on whether it's an arrest, a charging, usually it would be a charging or an actual conviction based on a guilty plea. I don't know that I ever see them go to trial. So I think there's always a plea of some sort. And a lot of times we'll hash out, do you think that punishment was appropriate? Was it too low? Was it too high? Some real bad fraud things that go on. But by and large, of course, like any other area, auto insurance, health insurance, life insurance, there are bad people who commit fraud, and then like 99% are not, or more. I'm pulling out a number, but that's true of all these programs. I think maybe I've seen 2 people that maybe were looking to commit fraud in 20 years. Yeah. And I had to make clear that I wasn't going to represent them. So anyway, so it's not as, I don't think it's as bad as people think. The money's bad. You can't be losing money like that. So I think that, the protections are necessary. But in any event, you don't have to be unable to babysit once a week and, make $50 or else you're not disabled. That's work, right? You can, as long as you are unable to make a substantial gainful income and are not making a substantial gainful income, that would be full-time work. That would be actually earning it and earning over the 1550. Okay. So great question. I see this a lot. And I just think it needs to be clear out there because, things can happen to any of us on a dime where a percentage of our functioning is gone and we might not be able to do full-time work, but we can do something, whether we are caring for our family or doing it gainfully 3 hours a day, at the local bakery or wherever. Disabilities do not have to be near-death disabilities. They don't have to be, like I said, bedridden, wheelchair, etc. Okay. So any questions on that? Just let me know. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.